Hey everybody. So this guy's kind of a beast, and it's gonna take me a little while. I was attempting to get him base coated before the stream started, but as you can see, I'm not done. He is so big that it has taken me a half an hour to get this done with this huge brush. I am using one of the old Citadel tank brushes, and I have adjusted my camera. Um, Hold on. Problem solved. I should be nice and loud now. Does this help? It helps if my microphone is actually next to me where I'm painting. What I was saying was this miniature is enormous. And I attempted to get this done prior to the stream starting, but I was not able to get down here until about 20 past 7. And I had to set up some other stuff on the stream and reposition cameras and everything, but holy moly is this guy huge. I've moved the camera away so that you guys have a better view, and I've changed my face cam position so it's up and a bit behind there. I was hoping to try and get a better angle, but he's a monster. He is a gargantuan, awesome dragon. So this figure is from the Pathfinder Deep Cuts series. I mentioned this before. I've got this guy who is an ancient red dragon. I've got an ancient green and an ancient white. I'm really hoping that they do a blue and a black, and that'll give me another excuse to use these guys as kind of interludes from series of miniatures on Twitch. I think this is going to be a multi-part because there's a lot of bits, there's a lot of detail, there's a lot of work to do on this figure because it's so big. So it's just going to take a while, but it's going to be fun. I'm sure I'll be able to do a lot of different techniques on him. We'll see what we can do. See if he comes out really awesome. I'm using my biggest brush to try and get as much surface area for this foundation paint as I can. I don't know if you can see him behind me. He's kind of hard to see. He's kind of small, but I have a tiny perler bead Bob Ross hanging from my shelf. He's on there as my spirit animal, my stream mascot. Yeah, it's entirely possible. I'll make a quick adjustment. We'll see what I can do. But I'm trying to get through this major first portion of painting this figure just to start off. I thought base coating was kind of boring. I didn't want you guys to sit through all of it. So, I mean, at least I got a good chunk of it started before we really get into this. Mostly because it's just a primary color. So you're just going to see me doing lots and lots and lots of red. We're going to be working with a lot of red shades and red tinting and all sorts of stuff. But he's got so many cracks and crevices, it's kind of hard to get them all. So I'm really trying to work my way through, pick up all the bits. Give me just a second and I will address the microphone silence. Is that any better? Crank the gain just a touch. Okay, good. I'll try and stick close to the mic as well. Just want to make sure it's not overwhelming. My intention was to actually announce in a couple of the miniature painting groups on Facebook that I was doing this like right now. I posted stuff earlier today. I'm hoping I get some folks swing by. Be nice to see some of them. Critical Minis and the 131 Gaming Club, as well as Alpha and Omega Gaming Clubs. I'm hoping to see some of those folks come through. That would be really cool. Don't recall having seen too many of them in stream previously. But some of those guys are also, not guys, but, you know, generally people. Holy moly, what? What are you doing? We're online, kiddo. You want to say hello? Say hello into the mic, nice and loud.
Hello.
This is my daughter. She should be in bed by now. But what's up?
I just wanted to come down and be with you.
Yeah. What's Mama up to?
She's just finishing brushing her teeth.
Yeah.
Because I just finished.
Cool. See how long it's taking me to do this guy?
Yeah.
He's real big. That's part of the issue. We got people in stream saying hi. See, this is the chat right here. And the last two things are hi, so they're saying hello. Getting down to his feet. The tricky part on a miniature this size is when you get all the way in. Well, part of it is getting all the way into the cracks. This is another one of those situations where I would have preferred if the miniature came in a couple of pieces so that I could properly get into all the cracks and crannies and stuff like that. Good night, kiddo. And do that before assembly because it's hard to reach in and get in there a lot. So, like some of these cracks and crevices are covered a lot by the arc of the wings. And in the shoulder areas, you can kind of see it up underneath all these spikes you have to get in. So it is going to be tricky to get through everything. Bottom of this foot. So there is a little peg right on the end of the toe right there, all underneath that toe that goes into the base. I think we're going to have some fun with the base too. I'm not sure what I'm going to put on it, but I might try and find some casualty. Kicking the heck out of my microphone. Might try and find some casualty markers. Maybe I'll put something cool on the base like that, or if I can find some ruins, some building ruins or house ruins or like a tower edge or something, I'll get him up on top of that because I think that would look even cooler. But that's for much later. Right now, I paint a dragon grundle. Painting dragon grundle. I'm going to have to use a smaller brush, I think, to get into some of these cracks. I'm getting all underneath the chin, everywhere. But you got to turn them over and look in a whole bunch of different places because there's lots of spots that you could potentially miss from different angles. When it comes to doing scales, I actually like to brush against the grain of the scale and try and tuck the bristles up and underneath all the joints, because that will get into those cracks a little bit better. I foresee some dry brushing, I foresee some blending of color, and I foresee some good shade washes and things of that nature. Get the ink wash on there to kind of blend things in, do a couple of layers worth of it. Because it is a giant red mini, you want to try and give some depth to the color. But boy, this is a big fig. All right, where am I? Coming across to the side. Hopefully I'm still a good volume. Twist my hand back around. And I'm all the way tweaked, all the way over. So my poor tank brush. This tank brush is one of my old ones, and it has taken a beating in the past because some of these big minis. But this one I think is going to give it the most abuse just because of all the spines and bumps and stuff like that. And I'm trying to get it into everything, so I'm doing a lot of pushing with the brush. I'm just like pushing it into the corners and stuff and kind of trying to get the tips of the bristles in there. Oh. All right, let me give it a little bit of a rinse. Give it a little bit of a rest for a second. Mostly because I'm worried I'm going to have to grab one of the wings and use that as a handle in a moment. With these big brushes, you got to be a little careful because you can get air bubbles. You can get air bubbles in there because there's so many bristles. So you can see them sometimes as you're going through. This poor bristle's all bent out of shape. Let me do a quick adjustment. Hopefully this doesn't get like super loud and nasty. Just a moment. Not much to see in the palette at the moment. Let's get down to the bottom of this wing. Getting a little far away from my camera, I know. We'll make adjustments as time goes on. I'll figure out where I need to be. But since it's so big, I'm going to have to figure out everything again for a model of this scale. How's everybody feeling this evening? Everybody being healthy? Everybody sticking on top of things? Staying away from everyone else? Crap. Come on. Okay. I had a bit of a dab of red, big glob that came over from underside. But I managed to spread it out a bit. I didn't want it to be this weird texture point. I'm going to get through most of my foundation red here, my base coat. It's going to add another $8 worth of paint to my mini value. Alright, let's get it in up around the edges. Where's the best place for me to hold on so he doesn't get away? I was thinking about it as I was working on this guy. If I had myself a good airbrush and had a good idea about how to use it, it would make a huge difference on figures like this and any minis that I had for a lot of, like a large batch of figures that I had to do. That's one of the things I want to do on stream. I want to do a batch of like 6 or 8 and how to really kind of make it somewhat efficient so you're not sitting there forever trying to get them all done individually and figuring out your paint schemes and stuff like that. Guess I'm gonna have to keep it closer. Sorry. Oh, I missed the back of his leg. Okay, let's get... Ah! This isn't dry yet, as you can tell from my finger. Back of this leg needs to be brushed down. Get inside here. I'm running out of places to hold on to, so let me get his legs. And then we'll give him a second to kind of dry a little bit, and then I will get into another spot. But I need to stop for a second because we're getting to the point where I'm going to have to hold on someplace else. Make sure I finish up everything over here. Yeah, you can never get Delirium to do stuff that's making sense, right? Stay away. I know you live with me in the same house. Just stay over there. And then he's got to go out. And he's got to work in an office for a little bit. And then he's going to come back. Actually, how did that go? Was there anybody there? Or was it just you being essential personnel? Essentially managing Zero. Because I know you had to go into the office today. Unfortunately, alright, let's get that. I'm going to hit this mic a bunch. By a bunch, I mean like right now, over and over and over again. Man, he's covered in spikes. Oh, that's cool. Nice. I should date this video a little bit by saying that this is like day, if you count the weekend, day 4 of our North America US coronavirus social distancing procedure. I don't know if some people are being as successful as others. I know there are some members of my family that I'd like to kick in the face because they're being dumb. But, you know, things happen. We're all eventually going to get it. We just got to try and get it in an orderly fashion, or else we're going to overwhelm things. Yep. Yep. Ever expanding list. I think it comes with the territory of successfully staying alive. You realize that there are lots of people that need a solid kick in the face. If for nothing else than to wake them up. But that's just my opinion. Welcome to the stream, Improper Andy. Have I seen you before? I don't recognize the name. And if it's your first time, welcome aboard. I am happy to have you. You came in just in time to watch me paint the taint. Oh boy. Or in lieu of watching talented people, just watch me. I'll take it. Take what I can get. Yeah. Disowning people and painting the taint. Yeah. It's just one of those things. I think there are a lot of people who just haven't really gotten the point at the moment. Everyone is going to get it. And what we're trying to do right now is just make sure that we get it. Not all at the same time. That's a great one. I like it. So is it Andy, like improper Andy, modus improperandi? How should I say it? My camera's usually over there, but I moved it, so I have to get used to it being over here again. Maybe I'll just move it back. Might be better over there anyhow. Got it. All right, hold on one second. Let's go back over here. Sit down. Put you back in your original position. That way I can at least talk to it and not have to be like, no, wait, you're over there. So I just wasn't sure if cameras were going to get in the way of cameras. It is. It's enormous. It's great. It's like this is the dragon. This is a normal D&D mini. It's big. Yeah, I'm just finishing up my base coating. I wanted to get this done earlier. I was unable to. I'm just trying to get enough of this over the undercoating. Yeah, this is the Red Dragon mini, Ancient Red Dragon from the from the Pathfinder Deep Cuts series. The thing I liked about it was it wasn't expensive for a mini of this size. It was like $25, which was fantastic. $25 or $30. So I got this one, the black, this one, the white, and the green one because I don't have a blue or a black yet. But I'm anxiously awaiting that. Just trying to get this red base coat on it with the foundation and or base coat paints, the Games Workshop stuff, the Citadel minis. So this stuff is fantastic because you can put it directly on over almost any type of material, whether it is a metallic mini, an old metal mini. You can put it on over like high gloss plastic. It coats very well. It goes on smoothly. And it takes other paints and ink washes and shades and stuff like that very well. So not only does it save you a bit of time, the colors like yellow and white and red go on in one coat instead of 12, and you can get them to go on smoothly. So that's really, really cool. I very highly recommend these. If you're not going to get any other Citadel paints, their base coats are great. He's huge. I figure I've got some time. I'll try and get this one in between. Plus, during the Critical Role campaign, they encountered a pretty enormous red, so I wanted to try and sort of do that as the finale of me finishing up the Campaign 1 Critical Role minis last week. So I'm mostly just trying, like I said, to get this base coat done. I tried to get this done before the stream. I failed. I just want to get it rolling because then we can start getting into the fun parts. We're going to see what a large scale shader application does. So we'll get like some of this. I've got some kind of a sepia tone shader that I want to put on over this to try and have it pick out some details. I may have to do it in a couple of sections so that we can actually have some stuff to do. But I'll also get through, before I even do that, I'm going to basically go in and start picking out some of the base coats for other things, like all the spines and the claws and teeth and stuff like that, because I had done a blend for a set of antlers that were as a headdress for Nefastu's Druid Mini, and I really like the way it came out, and I want to see if it works on a larger scale. So we're going to do the same kind of thing with the horns and stuff on this guy. I'm going to attempt to not paint all over my hands. All right, just about done with the base coats. Let me, oh man, there's some, so he's got some little nooks and crannies up in the corner here. I'm going to have to go back with one of my smaller brushes to try and get into. It's so hard to reach up inside here. Sometimes you got to find interesting ways to get the brush into those spots. But yeah, he's got a lot of parts. All right. Let's get the tail. Blah, blah, blah. I'm trying to work a lot of the paint through. And sometimes it'll go on, it'll be kind of thick, but if you just keep kind of brushing along and spreading it out, it will help. So smooth things out. You want your coats to be as smooth as possible. If you're planning on lots of layers, Even if you're not planning on lots of layers, you're going to end up with a lot of layers. So you got to kind of try to minimize the thickness at each stage so that you don't have to worry about it getting too crazy, too many brush strokes in there. If it starts getting too thick, you end up losing detail. So get those. I know I'm kind of getting out of the camera, but I can't really help it. He's too big. Oh. You've been promoted, Al. All right. Let's get in there. Al's been doing some cool stuff on his stream. If you guys are at all interested in how programming gets done, he's actually been live streaming some programming, which is pretty cool. It's a different kind of live stream, but he's good at it, and I feel like it's a cool idea. I'd like to see that taken off. Speaking of taking off to that end, just going to remind people, if you haven't already, tap the follow button up top. It helps me out quite a bit. I am getting close. I have GL Woody is a new streamer. Oh, and Proper Andy, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. I'm glad I reminded you. Oh, that puts me at 32. 18 to go. If you got friends who might be interested in a painting stream, let them know. Bring them in. Say hi. Ask questions. Chat with other folks. Talk about games, D&D, Pathfinder. If anybody's in some cool stuff, I have a potential plan to join up into an Expanse role-playing game, which will be kind of fun. You know, there's lots of them out there. I'm always interested in checking them out and figuring out characters and playing through scenarios and pretending to be different folks. I'm always interested in hearing other people's perspectives on games and rules and stories and whatnot. So yeah, just feel free. Open up and chat. We got nothing better to do tonight. We're gonna hang out, talk about stuff, figure out how I'm gonna paint this huge pine cone tail. Holy crap, that's ridiculous. Oh, I missed a bit inside there, in between these huge blades. Tail has claws, man. Yeah, it's been a little bit. Gotta get you into a game that you're not running, Delirium. Seems to be fairly common that if there is a good DM or somebody who understands how to run a game and understands how to put together a setting or a scenario, they end up as the DM more often than not. I apologize. I'd like to figure out a way to get you out of that rut if it's something you want to get out of. We don't walk on your beach. We enjoy the story. You're less of a bridge. You more lay down the stepping stones for epic characters, man. That's the way it works. Yeah. That's true. You know me. If I wasn't enjoying it, I'd bring that up. I don't tend to waffle on about it because it doesn't help to just keep it stuck, you know. If there's an issue or if things feel unbalanced, then, or at least if it feels like it might be going off the rails, I'll bring up the concern. Almost. He's just got a lot of crazy little details inside this end of his tail. It's driving me nuts. There we go. Come on. All right. My hope is that when I get in here with the shader, it's going to pick up a lot of these crevices and make them stand out a bit more. All right. So now I get to do a spot check. Gone through and covered pretty much everything. Got my hands all messy, but I gotta go in and try and find any of the bits that I might not have got the paint on. I can give the tank brush a rest, give it a rinse. Try not to slosh it around too much. I can't beat this one because I would get paint everywhere, so Alright. This is going to deserve some cleaning later, so I'm probably going to have to go back in between and really get in here and try and get as much of this red out of this brush as I can. Alright, I am going to need a new paper towel. Okay, get this brush tucked someplace. Yeah, it's gonna need some cleaning, but that's all right. That's my big, large, mini veteran right there. Alright, let's grab this large brush. Large brush? No, it's not as large as the last one. And I'm going to grab a little bit, because I know I got some spots down in here that I need to get. Let me get down into the majority of the cracks so that I can hopefully take care of all of the little bits in the corners that I wasn't able to get with the big brush. I know I've got some underneath that I need to poke at. Trying to be careful because this brush isn't as durable as the other one. I don't want to like push the bristles in, get them all kinked and bent. Just want to get the bristles in so I can get the red color on some of those white spots that you might bump into. Essentially, if you don't want to be purchasing brushes all the time, be as gentle as you can with the bristles. He's red, and he's a dragon. But he is by no means done. Miss a spot over there on the tip of the wing. Oh no, he's got a base. He's got a base. I didn't have to cut him off. I just had never glued him. I never like firmly attached him to the base. He's got some. I can put this away now that I've used nearly half of that. If you take a look at the feet, they have some. They have two big holes, and they have a little tab on this toe. And it's 3 points of contact, and it kind of plugs into it. Okay. Ah, crap. Do I have some more right here? I do have some more right here on the palette. Found some more. Now this miniature is big enough that I'm probably going to be doing this a couple of times. I'll get halfway through something and be like, ah, there's another one. But that's what I get. He's huge. He's going to take a good amount of time to get finished. Okay, one more roundabout. I think we'll be okay. Now the question is, how do I want to start working on this? I would like to brighten up the bits in between the fingers of his wings. So all of this stuff in here, I'm going to do with a slightly lighter color. But before I really get to that, I'm going to grab, where is it? We're going to work with this. I'm going to use this Beastie Brown. Can I even get that focused properly? He's like, hey, check it out. I got the bird ball to talk about. Yeah, he mumbles. Beastie Brown from the Vallejo game color line. And I'm going to use this and coat all of the horns and spines. So this is going to take a while on its own. I guess it is, isn't it? It is St. Paddy's Day, so happy St. Paddy's Day. I completely forgot. I mentioned this to my wife earlier today. She happened to remind me right now. Thank you. All right. Just pick a spot and start. And I'm just going to start hitting anything that is going to be a claw or a horn with this brown. Because what we're going to do is a bit of a two-stage dry brush with some washes in between to blend them all together, and that'll look pretty cool. But what we're doing now is we're prepping for all the other stages of painting this miniature. I'm going to go through and start picking out the details in other colors to kind of notate where all of the horns and claws and spines and nasty things are going to be. So it's going to take us a little while. We're going to be patient and careful and just go through here and get all the details. But we've committed to this process because he's going to be a long one. I really need to make time to get some of the other projects finished during the day, though. I've got a couple of D&D minis to do. Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Peach, did you bring that to, you must have brought it to a game day at Franklin, or a birthday party or something. If not, that should be like a whiskey flavor. Sorry, getting quiet for a second. Trying to not overdo these spines and get onto the wings. Although I shouldn't worry about it too much because I am going to go back and do some other coloring in that area. So if you notice the bristles on your brush are starting to splay a little bit, give it a quick wash. Rinse it and wipe it down and start with a fresh application of the paint on the bristles, because it usually means that you're getting soak up into the base of the bristles. So I'm going to rinse it. Give it a roll on the palette. Pick it back up. Oh boy. So what are people doing to keep busy? And who is barred from work and who is still going into an office at the moment? Nice. I mean, it makes sense streaming your stuff too, because you can be like, yeah, you can watch me do it. Working from home. No kidding. That's unfortunate. I think I got laid off at the exact right time, because it was in December, and then I didn't have to worry about it, and then I didn't have to work for Christmas, and then I wasn't there when people started getting sick. So I got kind of lucky. All right, let me see if I can make sure that this is hitting the right spot, because I know I'm picking them up a little bit, so I'm going to raise the camera slightly. That way you can continue to see where I'm working. Alright, Is that all of those? No. All right. Got some smaller ones down here. And I just whack that. Put a big brown smudge on his wing. But like I said, no need to get grumpy about it. I'll go back to that later. We'll cover that. We're just going to take our time, pick out all the points. Absolutely. Everybody should. If you can avoid it and not get COVID-19, good on you. Otherwise, keep healthy, stay inside, stay away from other folks. Whether you have it or not, because boy, it sounds like a real nasty flu. I had a little bit of a scare because Leona had a nasty cough last week and missed 2 days of school. But we were able to do a teleconference with our physician. She took a look at her and took a look at the symptoms and said, doesn't seem like you're in the COVID boat, so she should be good. And turns out the next day she started feeling better. So that was nice. But she had a nasty cough for a good chunk of that week. And it just built up over the course of about 7 or 8 days, and then it kind of hit her all. Steamrolled into her. Kept her up for a good chunk of the night. But she's okay now. Still has a little bit of a cough when we go outside because of the cold air and the crazy, like, cool March breezes. Yeah, it was nice. We did it with Zoom over Google, and I've got a Pixel 3a XL, and you know, Leona was cool with the doctor, and she was talking to her about it. She could kind of see her being a little bit tired, but she didn't have any of the other symptoms involved with it. The cough was a harsh one, but it wasn't like a dry windpipe hack. So don't take anything I say as evidence of not having it, by the way. I am essentially just doing this from the memory of the phone call. Always talk to a doctor. Okay, I'm going to leave those 3 for the moment. I'm going to move back over to his wing because he's got a bunch on the tips that I want to get. Yeah, I did IT for a while, and I worked for a communications company for 8.5 years, so I'm not worried and not shy when it comes to doing remote meetings and whatnot. I'm glad that other people are finally using it as an option. So when in doubt, don't see people in person. I'm sure we'll all get something similar eventually, but as far as a spring cough goes, you don't want this one. It only occurred to me now that I should have been painting the green dragon. Exactly. I definitely have a different area of expertise. All right. Let's keep it going. Working down on this wing. Again, I like to do kind of a brown or a dark undercoat as a base for bone color, because it works out pretty well as far as getting that color to stay true, and it works as a nice shader for underneath. Because I also do stuff like I tend to do a dark tone wash, or a the Citadel is like Agrax earth tone, earth shade or something, and that works really well on bone as well. Now the interesting part about this miniature as I was base coating it was that the eyes aren't terribly large. I should be able to get them, but they're pretty small in that head, and it makes sense, you know. He's not a giant octopus, he's a dragon. Of course, I just jabbed myself with the wet cloth, so I got some brown on my hand. Is that focusing properly? Yeah. I'm just moving around a lot. Sorry about that. Yep, yep. And sometimes you paint your hand with the miniature. Apply paint to brush. Apply brush to miniature, transferring paint to miniature. Apply miniature to hand, transferring paint to hand. Sigh frustratedly. Reapply paint to brush. Reapply paint to miniature. Attempt to not do it to your hand again. That's pretty much the way it goes. Did I get all of those? No. Let's turn them over. Let's get these guys. I'll leave that one. I don't think that one is going to be a claw at the end. And then I'm going to go and do them from the underside here. I'll get the back side of all of these. How far up on that one did I go? Some of these stick out more than others, so. Got a couple more. He's so big. I'm trying to get onto these spots so that you guys can see it as well, but it's sort of hard to get him because I got to roll him over a bunch and the rest of the mini is in the way. Sorry about that. But so this is what the one side looks like. Dipped his wing in the This is what we're doing. We're starting base coats. We're getting all the spines done. We're starting to pick out all these little angry little bits everywhere. That will eventually become bone colored, I believe. The trick I'm going to run into is I'm going to get halfway through some of these things and be like, you know what, I could do it like this. Figure out a different way to do it, and then have to go back and redo a whole bunch. But I'm figuring I'm going to stick to fairly basic. In some places, I might do some cool shit. We might go... Oh, I might do that anyway. Should I do some serious Godzilla stuff? Except in red? So instead of having the spines down his back be all bone, should I do them fire color? What do you think? Like all the ones down his back of his neck and down his back to the right here, I do in a crazy fire color, and maybe these big plates sort of fade it down to the tail. Yeah, exactly, right? Who knows? And yeah, I very well may have just painted the back of my head with that brush when I scratched it. It does sound exciting, and I've been having fun painting fire lately. Doing some fun stuff with flames, but he's just got so many spines. How's everybody doing tonight? I see I got 12 viewers on right now. That's awesome. Say hello. Pop into chat. Ask a question. Yeah, I wasn't thinking subtle red. I was thinking like bright, like fading it straight up to like yellow and white hot at the tips of the spines. You know how in like Godzilla, the spines on his back are like bright blue when he's gonna shoot lightning or radiation. It could be pretty cool. Could be pretty cool. But in the meantime, I'm gonna make sure I get the rest of these. Just so that, I mean, if nothing else, I'll be able to see them a little better in and amongst all of everything else. Because I mean, I could paint him standard, you know, make all these bone spines and whatever sticking out, or I could do some cool, crazy BS and make him look like, you know, my own special touch. I mean, why wouldn't it? Why wouldn't the spines on his back light up red hot when he channels all his dragon fire? Gotta length this out a bit. Yeah, absolutely. Why not, right? All right, we'll do that. I think we'll do that. It'll be fun. It'll be fun. The ones on his wings and stuff like that can be... We'll make them... Nefastu, the drinking horn on Ilfna's belt. Should I do that? Because that would make the base of these guys kind of black, going through gray to sort of a bone white. Sort of like drinking horns and regular horns and, you know, war horns and whatnot. I think it could be cool. Still, picking these out. Because I did the drinking horn on her belt differently than the horns on the antlers, like than the colors on the antlers. I wonder where Cacao's been. I was talking to him about doing some commission painting for him. But I haven't heard from him too much since then. I don't think he was around on Thursday. Is he lurking? Yeah, you think so? Okay. Okay, we'll work on that. It'll take a little bit of a change of direction, but like I said, I want to mark out where all these things are anyway. So I'm not worried too much about just doing them in a brown base to start. So, like I said, this guy's going to be a heck of a long project. He's not going to be a 2-session thing. He's going to probably be most of the next couple of weeks. And my intention actually is to do a couple extra live streams, sort of in betweens and whatnot. And we're going to record all of them and we'll post them up to YouTube for folks who can't stick around. We'll see what we can get done. So this will be fun. This will be fun. It'll be a nice big project to work on together, and we will hang out. And you guys will keep me sane as I work on 100 little tiny spiky points. Get everything finished. But like I said, it's going to take a while. He's a big boy. Okay, let me get inside here. Rinse the brush for a second because I'm losing bristles. Well, I'm losing point cohesion. You guys probably can't see this angle, unfortunately. You can see the top of my head. All right. Coming along. Starting on the other wing, get all of its little points. Is that actually a claw? It's going to be now. Well, that's all I ask. That's all I need people to do. That's what we're here for. Hanging out, painting, chilling out. Lily Lionheart. Love it. Love the username. Welcome to the stream. How's it going? Tap the follow. Thank you very much. 6 minutes ago. I'm sorry I missed it. I need to turn up the volume on my indicator. How are you doing this evening? It's 2 good username new followers tonight. Thank you very much, guys. Love it. Any questions? Anything you'd like to know? Anything you're working on yourself? Do you paint? Excellent. Mine made a quick appearance this evening. She got away from her mom and ran downstairs while her mom was brushing her teeth. She's sneaky like that. Hopefully this is mostly remaining in focus. Hey Fizz, welcome back. Yay. I'm doing all right. Staying healthy. Staying healthy. Oh, really? Lily, do I know you in real life? Have I met you? Thanks, Fizz. It's coming along. Literally just doing mostly base coats right now, and it is such a big project, it's going to take some time. I was talking earlier on, and we as a group decided that I am going to do some cool Godzilla-like stuff on his back, except in a Red Dragon theme. Instead of blue-green radiation, it's going to be like white-hot, orange to white-hot, all the spines along his back, because he's raring up to blow someone's face off. You know how Godzilla does that when he's about ready to shoot radiation? Then he gets the crazy like lightning effect going on and lights up all of the spines. Yeah, that's what I want to do on the back of this guy. So we've got that to look forward to as we go along. Should be fun. Hey, I'm happy having folks come in. Just pop in, hit the follow, helps everybody out, helps me out, lets me do this more often. Hopefully everyone's staying healthy today, and we're all gonna chill out, relax, and not talk to anybody in person for a little while. We're just gonna sit here, paint minis, and enjoy each other's digital company. Again, one of those things I'm not too worried about bumping into the base of the wings, because we're going to be doing some more colors on those. So we'll touch up any of those overflows. Awesome. Take a quick peek at... Oh, you know what? I don't think I actually ended up... I didn't upload the Percy video yet. I'm an idiot. I was trying to find a good video editor so I could splice them together, but I did some weathering on Percy's coat. That might be pertinent to what you want to do with the swordfish. Yeah. My suggestion for the swordfish would do some weathering along the front edge of the wings and the points. Do a little bit of a dry brush of black on it, just real faint right along the edges, and then go in with a metallic, like a gunmetal or something like that, and again use the edge of the brush. So don't use the tip of the bristles, use the side of it and drag them along like this. Hold on, let me see if I can get this in line so you can see what's going on. So if I'm going to do this one right here, I'm going to drag it so it's hanging over and go like that. And what that's going to do is it's just going to hit the edge. And that'll give it some scrapes and some weathering. It looked like some of the paint had come off, like high speed kind of use damage. That kind of thing might look really cool. Yeah, battle fatigue is going to look nice. That'd be really cool. I'm looking forward to seeing pictures of that. Yep. If you have a little bit of paint on the bristles and you dry the brush off and you drag it along the edge, you know, like this. If you're going like this so the tip is past, but you do it nice and gentle, what's going to happen is it's going to hit a line on the edge. Do I have anything I can do as an example? Yes. Let's see. Can you see? Let me show you what it's going to look like. Hopefully it'll show up. So this spine right here, right? If I just want to hit the edge of it, I'm just going to drag the brush bristles along the very corner, but not the tip. I'll let the tip go over the edge. And what's going to happen, you see that line? So there's going to be a little bit of an edge of a line of a brown right there. And that's just going to, now, if it's got a nice sharp corner on it, like if it's a hard corner, it might be rounded a little, but usually towards the front it'll have a little bit of a much more sharply curved point. If you just kind of bring it along the edge of that back and forth a couple of times, it should highlight that front edge, and then you can kind of bring the brush up in a couple places and just kind of give it some points, like some serious friction weathering on the paint job. That'll look super cool. You can also use some black shader. Army Painter dark tone will look really nice too. You can actually just do that probably around the engines over the metal bits, and it'll give it some like, I don't know, some like burn mark. You know, it kind of darkens up. And you should be able to get some cool effects with that as well, because you can use that either in there and you can use that in any of the gears. You figure there's probably going to be a little build-up, some metal shaving oil and whatnot. Would look really awesome. That's how I tend to do weathering on like vehicles and weaponry and joints of robots or whatever. You're welcome. Again, I'm looking forward to seeing pictures because that'll be super cool. I need to try and figure out, like, if you post pictures on Instagram or something like that, or on Twitter, and do like a hashtag Chromomancer, I might be able to sort and find them that way, because I would love to see pictures of when you're finished with it. I'm always big into seeing folks' minis that, like, I learn as much from looking at other people's figures as I possibly can. I mean, they're going to have different perspectives and different ways of doing things, and you might bump into something that worked really, really well for you that I hadn't really thought of, and I will gladly steal that technique, especially if it's something that is a good time saver. Or if it's something that helps a detail look more natural. I'm still trying to figure out the best way to paint eyes on really small minis, because it can be kind of frustrating. What I've been doing is I've essentially been painting them first. I will do like a very pale gray blue. And then what it lets me do is it lets me just bring the edges of the bristles around where the eyes are and kind of color in the outside and use the eyes as a negative space, essentially. So I'm specifically not painting that. I do have a Discord. Hold on one moment. Oh no! Oh no! What happened? Yeah, please. If you would, Al. Pop the Spire's Discord in there. Chronomancer's Spire, just to toss in some pics. Oh, that super sucks. We'll have to take a look at her and see what the heck happened. Did she like stick to the bottom or something, or did she get jostled around? Oh, yeah, links might not be allowed. I'm not necessarily entirely sure how to fix that. Fudge. That's not cool. I'll try and fix her. There you go. Next question. Am I in my own Discord currently? Awesome. Well, then all of you are apparently all invited to my Discord. I'm going to have to figure out my settings for it. True. Thank you for the reminder. I'm sad. I'm sad Ilfna fell off her base. That's frustrating. Man, her feet came out so nice. Her feet were so pretty. Okay, yeah, we'll have to fix her. Well, that's like I was saying, that's the good part of that premium plastic, is it breaks real clean. Working on getting some of these big spines done. Oh, I'm really sad. I don't like the fact that Ilfna broke. I just finished her. Don't recommend storing them in dice boxes, though. That's real weird. It's weird and random. Makes me sad. Uh-oh. Looks like my stream is all buffering or something. Hopefully I didn't lose connection. Good, we're still there? Yeah, we're still there. Cool. Yeah, on my end it briefly did this buffering circle. As far as the live end is, I'm recording it locally, so I'm not going to lose the video. Lots and lots of horns. Okay, I'm going to be a little careful up by the top. Really, Pandora? Depeche Mode, huh? Working on the back end there. Oh, you got a lot of horns. Alright, working on some of that on the side of his face. We're getting most of the ones along his back finished with their base coat. Gonna try and get underneath some of these guys because they're pretty darn big. Realistically, when you get down to it, it's just a matter of sticking to it and taking it in stages. So I'm only going to be painting this on stream, which means I can kind of take a break and do other things. Don't necessarily try and get it all done in one sitting because you'll just go crazy. like at the moment, I'm still working on basing all of these horns, and we're half an hour away from stream end. But I'm just gonna keep at it, and it's mostly just having someone to chat with helps. um, so like I was doing the Wednesday night painting over here at my actual house with people in person for a bit, because it's a good way to kind of get motivated and to keep on task. But really, it's just a matter of any kind of painting project can be overwhelming if you don't break it down into steps. So awesome. That looks super sweet. I will get closer looks at those in a moment. I will sometimes post finished pictures of minis in my Discord as well. Maybe not even ones that I've done on stream, but ones that I've done for clients and whatnot. So you will occasionally see those pop up in the Discord. It's currently not super duper active, but it'll get there. Of course, same rules apply to the Discord as to our chat here on stream. Don't be a douchebag, rule number 1. Online and in life. Ooh, this one's tricky. Way up inside. Do a little hand contortion. Trying to get in between everything. Yeah, pretty much. With the wet palette, I can have the blended paints sticking around for a while, or if it's something that I'm worried about, I might not have enough for. I can always set up some time to very specifically go through and do blended highlights. Like I will sit down if I'm like done with all the base coating and I'm looking to get into something like the horns and whatnot. What I will do is set myself some time aside and figure out how I'm going to do it. But with the wet palette, it does help because it means that I can step away for a moment. I don't have to worry about it drying. Thank you, Cacao. But yeah, the blending can be tricky. But again, the real secret to doing a good blend is using some of that shader. And if you can find a quick shade that is appropriate for your colors that you're blending and use that, get all the way down there, it helps a considerable amount. Because realistically, a shader lets you get a couple of different tones in on a spot on a miniature, and when you're doing sort of stages of color in between, what happens with the shader is it'll make it kind of, it'll darken them as you get closer to the base or into crevices or whatever, and that helps blend everything together. So shaders are a great way to make a mediocre blend look good. So you don't necessarily have to go full on crazy wet blend and take hours of your time just to try and get a like yellow to red. You can do a couple of different stages and be done with it with a good wash. My recommendation with washes is be generous when applying, and don't be afraid to go back in, clean your brush off a little bit, and then essentially siphon some of it off if it's too heavy and spaces with the tip of the brush. Acts almost like a straw. You can actually suck up a bunch of the extra and help blend it more smoothly. I think I've done that a couple of times on stream, so. Oh yeah, I probably did. We're getting in there. We're getting down to the bottom. I'm working on the other side. He's got so many stinking spines. He's got a bunch down at the bottom here. I mean, it must be awfully uncomfortable. Like, all these just kind of banging up against each other. Alright, I'm going to go under this wing, so you're not going to be able to see it too well because I've got to get underneath all of these. See, I'm kind of going up there. And to get my light in there, I've got to tip it so the camera's not going to be able to see what's going on, unfortunately. This is one of those situations where some people would be like, oh, no one's going to see it anyway. I'm not going to paint it, but I do it anyhow. Because sometimes somebody does. And if nothing else, I know if it's not finished. Oh boy, that's going to be a pain in the butt. Okay. I might need to move to a smaller brush. Some of these are tiny. Well, let's finish the base coats down his back. I'm going to go in one direction, and then I'll turn it around and go in the other. I feel like he's going to come along pretty quick once we get rolling. And you can't see this part because his enormous wing is in the way. There we go. Yeah, it's entirely possible. The older you get as a red dragon, the more spines you have growing out of your vertebrae, the angrier you become. It also explains why they sleep for long periods of time, because they're just like, oh, I'm not moving. Working it around the back side here, getting all these spines. A little bit more. And you got to be careful when you're holding on to stuff, because some of these the tips will rub off a little bit. This is before we put on any sort of hard coats. I'm pleased I picked up a bit of the Army Painter matte varnish spray coat, which will allow me to get this guy sealed up after we're done. Probably do the hard coat matte varnish over him, and then go back and hit these particular spines that we're going to make the fiery orange with a gloss varnish, because I want them to really stand out. Well, also the inside of his mouth, because the inside of his mouth and the back is going to be glowing as well, so we're going to have some fun with glowing portions. Okay, a little bit more. I'm going to have to get the smaller brush for some of these tiny spines, I think. Or not. Seem to work out okay. I feel like most of my face cam tonight has been the top of my head. Or at least like the side of it. As I try and work my head closer to the angle of the camera so that you guys can see which bits I'm painting. I mean, does a surgeon have time for a pastime? It'd be good practice, I imagine. There's nothing wrong with that. Probably. Yeah, I could see it. I could see it. I don't know any, or I'd ask him. Yeah. I agree. I agree. And it can be pretty relaxing. You just kind of let the brush do its job and don't necessarily super stress out about things, and then see what happens. Okay, so now the question is these big old plates on his tail. They don't really match the rest of them. It's almost like they put somebody else's tail on him. All right, let's get to this part where you guys can see that. We'll get these spines in here. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn him over. You can see his butt, and I'm going to go up under the spines to make sure I got all of the underside. I don't know if I want to go underneath that one because it seems like it's sitting on a scale that is going to be red. So we'll leave that one alone. And we'll get under this leg. Let me get it back on this side. All right, doing pretty well, coming along. I am seeing some spots under here that I'm going to have to go back with the red. I did miss some, unfortunately. He's got, like I said, this is the tail and the wings and everything. The fact that they're so large means that occasionally the perspective I'm looking at is, it completely obscures parts that I can't even get in and see them. But eventually you get to everything. Yeah, there we go. Picking up the last of this brown. The last little bits. We're not done with these guys yet. Still got all the ones on his arms. Both arms, both legs. He's got tons of those there as well. But, I mean, realistically, at the moment, that's not bad for a start. It really isn't bad for a start. Let's do a little bit more. Need a drink. Hopefully I don't whack cameras. All right. So, I'm going to grab one of my smaller brushes real quick. And we will go with, I'm going to go with the Citadel Detail brush. I'm going to keep going, but I'm going to start working on some of the smaller spines on his arm. So up under here, he's got some. That one looks like it was broken. It's at least sort of stopped earlier than the other ones have as far as getting to a fine point. Sometimes you can get away with just hitting this, using the side of the bristles again, and getting over the edges of the spines, and it helps pick them out to be able to see them a little bit better. Can you see those? Yeah, you can see those. Oh boy, he's a monster. We're gonna take our time. We'll be here for a while. Maybe I'll do, I don't know, should I do tomorrow night too? Maybe in the afternoon if I get some time. I do have some miniatures I gotta paint for commission, so maybe we'll do a little bit of each. Should I stream all of it? Should I stream minis that I'm painting for commission? I've got a D&D figure here I'm trying to finish up. Where am I from? I live in Massachusetts. I live up in Massachusetts. Radio Hero from Fizz. Yeah, well, up in Mass, we're all kind of locked down at the moment. Mostly everything is shut down or set to minimal interaction mode. Illinois. Awesome. Every time I see Illinois, I want to say Illinois, but I want to say Illinois in like Strong Bad's voice. Pittsburgh, huh? I have not yet been to Pittsburgh. Thank you, and we'll see you next time, Dad. Stay healthy. I've been looking to set up a PO box so people can send me minis for commission. So I'll have them in a good spot. I'll be more comfortable posting that address in with stuff. I will do so. They were on earlier. Both of them were listening. Tessa's account there. So you can say hi yourself next time. Say hi to Kayla. I mean, it makes sense. And I understand exactly why they're doing it. They're really just looking to flatten the contraction curve. That way they don't overwhelm the physicians, doctors, hospitals, etc. Okay. So, big boy's coming along. You can start seeing some of the detail that's going to start showing up on this figure as it goes along. But what you're going to see is more detail in the wings later. But we'll get the horns done, start getting all the bone, and then we'll start playing around with basing on the spine. So, maybe tomorrow night. Maybe I'll do Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I don't have much else to do in the evening, other than play video games. But realistically, I need to get some of this stuff done, and it's fun to do anyhow. So yeah, big old angry dragon, and maybe we'll pick it up tomorrow night. So for everybody, thanks for swinging by. I really appreciate it. If you've got nothing better to do, hit that follow button up top. We're getting close. I need 17 more followers before I hit associate. I'm getting kind of excited because it's starting to look like it might be a thing. And then we will keep working on this guy this week. He's a bit of a beast. Sort of as a last big figure after finishing up all of the Critical Role miniatures. Yeah. Good night. Stay safe from dem germs. And we will see as many of you tomorrow as we can. So have a lovely evening. Get some rest. Wash your hands. Be good to everybody. And we'll see you later.